In the last video, we have seen four types of operating systems. These were simple batch systems, multi-programming batch system, time sharing system, and desktop system. So let us look at the other types of operating system. These are parallel system, distributed operating system, clustered system, real-time operating system, and handheld system. So let us start with parallel system. Parallel system are also called multiprocessor system because they have more than one CPU in close communication. That is, in the same motherboard there are more than one processors. That is why they are also called tightly coupled system. The diagram shown below is the example of a multiprocessor system where you can see 8 number of CPUs or 8 number of processors that are connected together, or they are in the same motherboard and they are sharing the same memory. The communication take place in such system using shared memory. We will discuss more on shared memory in the coming chapters. The advantage of parallel systems: increased throughput, as there are a number of processor which is more in the system compared to a one processor or a single processor system, the performance of the system is more. So that is why that is called increased throughput, because of more number of processors. These systems are also economical because they are sharing memory, they are sharing hard disk, they are sharing other input output devices like keyboard, mouse, display units, and that is why the cost of the system is reduced compared to a single processor system where each of the processor will be having a separate set of input output devices and so on. They have also increased reliability because if one of the system fails, one of the CPU fails, one of the processor fails, then the system is still able to work. So that is also called fail soft system. One more thing about reliability is that in the example you can see there are 8 number of processors. So we can reduce the processors from 8 to 4 or to 2, but still the system will function smoothly. So that is what we call as graceful degradation. That is, reducing the number of processor will still make the system work. There are two type of parallel system: symmetric multiprocessing. Each processor runs an identical copy of the operating system. Many processes can run at once without performance deterioration. Most modern operating systems support symmetric multiprocessing. The second type is asymmetric multiprocessing. Here each processor is assigned a specific task. There is a master processor and there are slave processors. So the master processor schedules and allocates work to the slave processor. So generally in such a scenario, a program is divided into multiple subprograms which are independent of each other, so that they can be given to each of the slave processors. So suppose a program is divided into 4 independent programs or 4 independent subprograms, and each of the subprogram is given to one of the processor. So 4 processor handling one of the subprogram each, and thus the performance of the system will be improved because all the slave processor will be working at the same time, that is parallelly. These are more common in extremely large systems. The example of a symmetric multiprocessing architecture is shown here, where multiple CPUs are there, they are sharing the common memory. Coming to distributed system. In distributed system, the task is actually divided among several physical processors. Now in case of tightly coupled system or multiprocessor system or parallel system, in the same motherboard multiple processors were present. But in case of distributed system, they are physically apart. You can consider there are 4 systems each one having one processor each, and they are physically apart. As an example, you can consider the lab of our university computer lab, and you can see there are several systems which are connected together via high speed communication line. The example you can see here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 number of CPUs or 5 number of system, each one having their own memory and disk, and they are communicating with the help of a communication network. This communication network is the LAN network or a high speed telephone line. So that is how they communicate. So we can see in a distributed system, these are uniprocessor system compared to multiprocessor system where all the processors were there in the same motherboard. Here they are physically apart. Example is our computer labs. Advantages of distributed systems. Resource sharing. So all the systems in this example, the 5 system, they can share the resource. What type of resource? For example, a database. They can fragment the database, and that fragmented database can be kept in each one of the system, or they can keep a copy of the database in each one of the system. So the disk will be storing the database. So that is how they can share the resource. Also the computational speed by sharing the load. Now same way like the multiprocessor system, the task will be divided, and each one of the processor, each one of the CPU will be given the job, and they will all work in parallel. So that is how they are sharing the load, and the computation speed will be improved because they are running in parallel. Also they are highly reliable system, considering the fact that if one of the system fails, the other system are still able to work. Communication. The communication between them is also very good, considering they are connected through high speed communication lines. The failure of a system does not affect the performance of the overall distributed system. However, they requires networking infrastructure, that is that high speed connections through telephone lines, switches. That cost is always considered while designing a distributed system. Also we can say that wide area network, local area network are example of distributed systems. They may be also either in the form of client server or peer-to-peer systems. So a client server architecture, you can see multiple clients are there. They are connected through high speed network lines to the server. The clients will be sending requests to the server, and server will be replying to the clients. Next is clustered system. Clustering allows 2 or more systems to share storage. The diagram if you see here, there are 2 servers which are considered to be in one cluster. So if one of the server fails, the other server is there to take over the responsibility of the first server. That is how they are providing high reliability. Reliability in the sense that failure of one does not affect the entire system. The other processor or other system is there which will take over its position. These are also called asymmetric clustering, where one server runs the application while other servers are in the standby. So in this example we see that server 1 is actually functional, and servers 2 can be considered as in the standby. Next one is symmetric clustering. Here there will be n number of systems all running the application. So if suppose there are multiple or there are millions of requests, so all the n host will be handling the request, and there will be no host or no single host which will be affected by multiple requests. So the multiple requests can be shared by n number of hosts. So that is how the performance will be improved. Clustered system provides best features of both distributed operating system and multiprocessor system. They are developed in the late 80s for VAX and VMS operating system. A system consisting of 100 nodes can easily give a supercomputer run for money. An example is System X, or you can call it System 10, which uses 1100 Apple Macintosh G5 computers and capable of running 10 trillion flops floating point operations per second. Coming to the next one, which is called as real-time systems, often used as control devices in a dedicated application such as controlling scientific experiments, medical imaging system, industrial control systems, and some display systems. Well-defined fixed time constraint. From the name itself, we can understand that real-time systems are not like the general operating system, which can run a user program or you can run a application. These are specifically designed or specifically used for dedicated applications where delay, to be noted, delay is not allowed in real-time system, or even if it is allowed, it is allowed very minimal. Okay, so important point is about real-time system is that delay not allowed, and they have, that is why, fixed time constraints. That is, the task has to be completed in the fixed time, otherwise the system will fail, or otherwise the result of the system will be of no use. Real-time systems can be either hard or soft real-time. If we go to the first one, hard real-time systems, here secondary storage is limited or absent. Data is stored in short-term memory or read-only memory. The reason being, a secondary storage device will take significant amount of time, and that will result in the delay in the system. So in hard real-time system, secondary storage is absent, and they use a very fast memory for the system. Examples of real-time systems are flight controller system, airplane, sensor and autopilot systems, spacecraft and planetary rovers, nuclear systems, some medical applications such as pacemakers. For such system we use hard real time, that is, delay is not allowed. If there is a delay, it will result in a catastrophe. Next is soft real time. In soft real time, the response time is higher compared to a hard real time system. So some delay is considered, or it can be accepted, which will not affect the final result, or it will not affect the system. In this system, safety is not critical. While in the hard real-time system, safety was a concern. If you consider flight control system, or if you consider nuclear system or the pacemaker, in such system delay is not allowed because it will result in catastrophe. But in such system, the safety is not that critical. Examples are multimedia and virtual reality applications. If we see some of the examples here are telephone switches, audio and video delivery software for entertainment, computer games, or you can see a driving school with a simulator for driving. There, even if a minimal delay is also there, this will not affect the system, that will not result in a catastrophe. So that is how soft real-time and hard real-time systems differ from each other. Finally, handheld system. Personal digital assistants, mobile phones, tablets, all come in handheld systems. So some of their limitations are limited memory, slow processor, and small display screen. So that's all for types of operating system. Thank you.